Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
Good evening.
Happy Thursday. How are you?
It's one day before Friday. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Well, one day before Friday, that's great unless you work all weekend.
I'm not working all weekend. Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you do, because you'll chase a story from here to Mars.
I'm telling you guys, I'm on a story. I never expected this story that we did about, we just reported on this story, a vape shop. Kids became very ill. They reported, this is in Johnston County. I reported this, 3 days ago, WRAL, all outlets reported it. And we put it up on our Facebook and we put it up on our X feed. And, we got a combination, this is weird, of shock and people super pissed off at us because they want their THC gummies and they do not appreciate us, or we're just reporting what the cops said, right? They don't appreciate people being arrested for children overdosing and being sick.
Yeah. Well, I think in the last 2 days, I've probably spent more time learning about some drug that I never heard of before in my entire life. And we're going to talk about it more. Mm-hmm. But more concerning, I learned about through you because I've read our Substack, but mostly yours because you wrote it. I did not realize that this really crosses outside of North Carolina and how much of an alarm we need to sound in the state.
Yeah, we absolutely do. We have an update on this story. This is in Johnston County. And I think we really went through it pretty fast because we had a sheriff candidate on toward the back of the show. But we're looking at vape store busts across the state. We found two things. Number one, we found that 97% of the defendants in these cases are Muslims. Okay, yes. I could say Arab, but Arab can mean Christian, right? So yeah. I've looked into it. They're Muslims and seem like they're Arab. That's interesting to me. And then
it seems like they're. I'm sorry, but I can't pronounce one name.
Well, I'm going to try to get through it. But look, here's the North Carolina law, because a lot of you have been asking. It's a class 2 misdemeanor to sell or give tobacco, nicotine, vapor products, to anyone under 18. So I guess if they come into the store, it makes sense. You've got to get their license, whatever. And then they control the content. So in other words, you're only allowed to sell specific things.
So the state controls the content?
FDA.
Okay. I just want people to understand.
The FDA, but then the state says you can only carry these products that are either FDA approved or pending approval. So we're probably talking about these store owners adding different things onto these products.
I would also say some of these products they don't meet the qualifiers, because I was in my understanding that when it comes to vapes, really the only one that the FDA had approved, and I don't know this from a recent perspective, I haven't really looked into it, but it was only the Juul, and it was only in like 2 or 3 flavors at that time. They never approved any other brands that I knew of, because that was a big deal in Congress when they were going through the first budget stuff last year.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a vape company that was trying to get the subsidies that our tobacco farmers get for growing tobacco. They were trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's different products. So there's a gummy product. So I talked to Representative John Bell today about a House bill that was kind of sidelined last legislative session. And there's a regulated amount state by state of THC allowed in a particular gummy. And some of the arrests that I'm going to tell you about, what the cops are saying is that it's up to some arrests 60,000 times the amount of THC. Okay. And they're getting reports of people being hospitalized, et cetera. And that's the precursor to some of these arrests here.
That is insane.
Mm-hmm.
And what's even more insane is, do we know the effect of something that far out that we've never seen before on a kid whose brain is not fully developed?
Well, we have a lot of pushback about THC on our social media, and people are very mad about that. Shut up. And I'm going to tell you why. We're not only talking about that, friends. We're talking about another powerful drug that can also be used and put onto this to make it highly addictive. And we're going to tell you about that. And I say shut up because I'm getting angry at people sitting there and insinuating that children can't legitimately get sick from a product that's being sold in one of these shops. It's absolutely preposterous. So first, we're going to talk about this one. This is a very, very big bust. I mean, look, overall, what we're going to talk about tonight, let me just set the table because there's a lot of stuff and I'm very excited. So what we're talking about is vape stores across the state selling illegal THC to minors, a little bit, but something far worse. It's called khat. It's banned here in America. It's on par with heroin and meth, Margot.
I had never heard of this before you called me. Never. Well, I can't imagine there are many people that mothers, parents, you may, because you're a journalist, but I wonder if the average mom or dad knows what this is.
You know who knows what it is? Every veteran that served in Iraq,
Afghanistan.
Every single veteran.
Wow.
What it is. So it's comes from it grows in Afghanistan and it grows in, the northern horn of Africa, actually. The DEA classifies it as the most dangerous drug. We told you about this on Tuesday, and now we're going to follow up on this. It's not an isolated case, and we're going to illustrate that tonight. Other North Carolina raids, Wilkesboro and beyond, I'm going to tell you about those, put up the mugshots. They've uncovered khat in these arrests. So now we have Middle Eastern people with khat.
With khat. I just want to make sure you said khat because I literally heard pot.
AT.
Yeah.
Well, that too. That too.
Well, that's why I was asking because are they together?
Well, yeah. I mean, that can be laced. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's kind of what we're talking about here. Or possibly they're selling it out of the back of the shop, right? Either way, they've got enough to distribute. That's what they're charged with. They're in storefronts. It's terrifying to think that beside your kid's school or daycare or whatever, this is a storefront selling something that's scheduled like heroin. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. I honestly was flabbergasted when you talked about this. And then I started investigating, like, how far has this creeped up? It isn't here that I have seen in Western North Carolina. That doesn't mean it's not here. It just means that we haven't had any bust for it. But, if you think you're an hour and a half from Atlanta, which I'm sure there's some there, and you're, going down the state, I did see it as far away as Hickory, which is still considered Western North Carolina. If you're in the legislature, you stop about Asheville. But anyway, that is interesting.
Here's one of the dumbasses. So Mo, we're going to look into you. Here's one of the dumbasses that's on Facebook, very, very upset about this. And you know what? I don't really give a shit. And I'll tell you why. Because I care about the people that live here. I care about children and I care about the facts. So Mo, maybe you can just shut up and listen to what I'm going to say. Although I suspect you already know it.
It's just some troll.
You know what, Mo? We will. Listen up. All right.
What a troll.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We serve all kinds here. In fact, you know what I've been spending the last hour of my time doing? You can look on X. I've been arguing back and forth with the Qatari ambassador to the U.S., literally arguing back and forth with him. So if I think I can take him on, Mo, you're chump change for me.
You're nothing.
I'm nothing, dude. Nothing and no one. Okay, so Beaufort, we're going to have an interview with the Beaufort sheriff. He's agreed to come on and talk to us about this. Check this out. All of these smoke shops were hung up on and investigated in something called their Operation Smoke and Mirrors. 13 Beaufort County vape and convenience stores. It's a small town. Okay, very rural. It's a 2-month probe that they did. So investigators seized 24,000 grams of THC products, 295 grams of khat, and then $74,000 in cash that had not been reported. So if you're doing things that are off the book, right? What do you say? Okay, so these were the defendants who were arrested. You're going to see out of the 8, okay, 6 were Middle Eastern. Okay, it's grown over there. It's used over there.
That's insane. That's like a small, sleepy little town on the beach.
Oh yeah, you're going to see that a lot of these arrests, they are, Margot. They're in the eastern part of the North Carolina. They're very, very poor place in a lot of these places. Look, by the way, this is no joke. This causes deep psychosis, euphoria, etc. So I've known about khat since 2001, or actually 2002, because the Taliban, all right, they will give them that. The leader of the Taliban will give them that to get them jacked up to commit mass murder and atrocities. That's what they do. That's what they do with Hamas. They chew khat before they go out and kill and do mass murder. Hezbollah, etc. Yemen and Somalia, those are the 2 predominant places that they're doing this.
Oh, yeah.
So if you think about it, I mean, this is like PCP. So if you've studied, PCP, what it does or what it has done, it will make you fucking crazy and violent. This is times 10 that. So if you think of it by schools where kids can get their hands on it, when we think of the uptick in violence, we have to ask ourselves, is there a correlation? I don't know.
And is it laced in other things that kids take unknowingly? And I think the other thing to think about is if it's 10 times as powerful and it's an amphetamine, how is that affecting, like, let's just put 2 pieces together. How's it affecting young people who got the jab or not and just have just regular heart growth?
Well, it causes severe mood swings. And according to FBI testimony, continuously, khat trafficking is tied to international terror networks with profits moving through informal money systems like vape shops, potentially hemp shops, right? That are difficult to track and regulate. Is that why cash that's unreported is also found during these arrests?
That's the first thing you heard me blurt out. It's a cash-based business and it's not easily traceable, which is downright scary.
Hard to regulate, which comes as a surprise to me, maybe many of you. But look, investigators, they say that these same underground financial channels have been used by Hezbollah, okay, Al-Shabaab predominantly, Somalis, right, those networks.
But they haven't correlated that this money goes to them yet, have they?
No, not here in North Carolina. No. So it's allowing drug proceeds to help fund weapons training and overseas operations. North Carolina was involved in a very big Hezbollah funding case. It was 10 years ago, I think, but it did involve cigarettes and tobacco products.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet a lot of our listeners don't know that.
Operation Smokescreen. It was about 15 years ago, actually, but it's well known. I mean, we told you on Tuesday, the tobacco trafficking and cigarettes, that is associated sometimes with terror funding. And now we're telling you a separate drug, khat. So there's 2 of them. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're intertwined with groups exploiting narcotics like khat because they're damn profitable, portable, and very misunderstood by the public.
And underground. Let's just be honest. It's an underground drug. Misunderstood from the perspective of, I don't know what it is, but also it's underground because if you don't know what it is and someone's got it, you don't know what they're dealing with, what you're dealing with.
Well, that's absolutely true. And if you don't know that it's on something that you're taking, that's
That's even scarier.
Another implication, right? So law enforcement stresses that this makes pot not just an illegal drug. It is a national security concern.
Wow.
Period. Point blank. End of discussion. Linking local sales with global threats, highlighting why crackdowns remain a damn high priority. And I'm just giving you some recent cases here. We're just putting up some recent ones. Look, I mean, this has been written about for a very long time. This is CNN. CNN's covered it. This was Dateline. Remember Dateline?
Yeah.
Dateline's covered it. This is from the Daily Signal. In 2025, Customs and Border Patrol seized 46,000 pounds of khat, more than doubling from 2024. So 2025 was
that was last November.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So Texas, they're making these arrests and they're raising terrorism questions. I'm telling you guys in North Carolina, it is here. Don't just believe me. I'm going to show you. It is here. So that same arrest we talked about, the same arrest, we now know that they were also found with illegal guns, illegal cash, and khat. So
Sloan, do you know what the form of khat is when someone gets it? Is it powder? Does it look like a leafy substance? Do you know?
It is a leaf. It is a leaf. That's a very good question. It's a question for the Beaufort sheriff who we're going to have on this program.
Okay.
I'll be talking to the Carteret sheriff tomorrow in an interview. But let me tell you about another arrest because one, a pattern does not know.
Oh, Western North Carolina.
This is Wilkesboro, July 2025. 2 vape shop owners had 2 bags of khat and something called gas station heroin. So this guy, these 2 guys were selling it, distributing it, etc. That's what's happened in Wilkesboro. Let's talk about Rowan County. Okay. Here's a Mo from Rowan County.
Maybe that's him.
Yeah, well, no. Mohammed Mosed Al blah, blah, blah. Don't know. This is January 2025. It's going to piss you off. Charged with raping a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old girl multiple times in exchange for vapes.
For vapes?
Vapes.
Unbelievable.
So these storefront vape shops are raising a hell of a lot of questions. Maybe they're not raising enough questions, but they're raising them for me, and hopefully we're going to get some on the map. So let me tell you about these guys. This is, again, in Johnson County. This is another one back in August 2024. So special agents executed search warrants at 2 Garner vape shops. Hani Mohammed Saleh on the left, Yasser, I don't know the last name, on the right. We're selling khat 1,000 feet from a daycare. That is a big no-no, showing the willingness to break the law and to do it. So Moore County. Okay, these guys were arrested in Moore County. I know the sheriff there. Listen, you do not want to screw with that guy. So Moore County, this is January 2025. These 4 were arrested. Also, not for khat, but they were arrested for in these places. Look how many of these they got. So it looks like these guys can own quite a few at a time, right? But they were arrested for drug charges as well. So it's happening in Moore County. Raleigh, okay? You would say, wow, Raleigh's making arrests?
Well, I'm not surprised at Raleigh. I was surprised it wasn't in the first run.
Well, we're going to talk about where this isn't happening because that's as important as where it is happening. Mm-hmm. The arrest. Angier Police, that's right outside of, I think that's in Harnett County, actually. They were the ones that made the arrest. It wasn't in Raleigh, but let me tell you about this. Investigation by Angier Police, November 2025, mushrooms and illegal amounts of THC. Okay. And so people out there who think that's mild, right? They're going to say, wow, that's not a big deal. It's illegal.
It's a big deal.
Forefront.
I wonder how close they were to a school. That's the thing. You may not care for yourself, but you have to care about kids whose brains are not developed and don't have the same judgment you do.
And some of you are saying, well, I did that shit back in high school or whatever. It's not the same shit. It's not. I did not, but a lot of
You
people.
didn't know Maui Wowie.
Well, a lot of good people, they're like, okay, well, that didn't. It is not the same, by the way. Number one, and number two, I mean, it's laced with stuff, so that's the entire point, right? It's not. It's not what you're actually buying. So Hope County, October 30th, 2025. This guy, multiple felony arrests. Okay, I mean, look, pot
Were
isn't
these
new.
were these all state or were some of these federal?
That's a great question. So the DEA, you know what? The ALE here and the SBI, we're going to get into that, have been cooperating with sheriffs. But this is a project headed up by sheriffs in different places.
Oh, wow.
And
I have a crappy sheriff.
you have a horrible sheriff that needs to stay off social media, but that's just me. So look, the pot's not new and not rare, not harmless. You chew it like tobacco. That's the thing. You chew it like tobacco. I don't know. So I'm just going to tell you that we're at a record high right now. And just a year earlier, 70,000 pounds in 2022, under Joe Biden, it peaked at 175,000 pounds of this shit. Remember,
So it's coming across every open border, pretty much.
right. And we're going to go over that in a second. So, but check this out. It's happening where there's Somali, Ethiopian, and Yemeni communities. Minneapolis is the number one place. It's the first place that this stuff was brought in.
Really? So now you have to ask, do they have it in Springfield, Ohio?
They're going to try and go federal. Okay, that's good to know. Do they have it there where there's been reports of wild stuff happening? I don't know, but listen, the tie to violence, and I'm not talking about just punching someone.
Yeah. You're talking about extreme violence.
Ripping someone's heart out, literally. The extreme wild acts of violence is tied to this, period. It is. And Mo, if you're still on here, look that shit up.
Mo knows. Don't you know? Mo knows everything.
Minneapolis, Dallas, Columbus, Boston, New York, Seattle. But it's here. It's here in rural North Carolina. Okay. Here's how it slips through air cargo, courier shipments, and this little package also often disguised as tea and toys.
Oh, wow. Well, what's interesting to me is like I went down to Peru, and they have coca leaves all over the place. You can buy them at any market. But if you're an ignorant person and you don't know any better, you don't know what that is. And you just think it's tea because it's at every tea shop.
Yeah. Hello.
Hey, John.
Some good information here. Okay, so the DEA in 2010 confirmed that millions of US dollars from pot sales are funneled back to Somalia annually for terror financing.
Of course.
Now, when we talk about North Carolina, I did a deep dive and I'm like, okay, where are those populations concentrated? Get this: Charlotte, Durham, Greensboro,
of course,
Raleigh. And I'm not seeing drug busts in those areas. Tons of vape shops. So
what do those have in common, though? Democrat sheriff, Democrat DA, Democrat mayor. Just saying.
So the places that are really of danger and that could be doing terror funding, right, are there. And so we need the feds to come in and do an investigation of these cities that are not willing and municipalities, wherever, that's not following the law. Yeah. So.
Well, do you think, just you and I talking as girlfriends on the internet, do you think that like Ellis Boyle knows about that, the federal prosecutor for the eastern area of North Carolina? And do you think Russ Ferguson, the western North Carolina federal prosecutor, do you think they know about this?
Well, I have Ellis Boyle's phone number.
Oh, and Dan Bishop too, because he's got Dan Bishop,
Ellis Boyle, and then Brad Knott.
Oh.
He's in Johnston County.
Yeah, and he was a federal prosecutor. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see how the ties work with the sheriff's departments and the feds as they move this and roll it up. So get these people out.
We have a Homeland Security committee in the House here in the General Assembly. Joe Pike is the head of it, and I forgot the other guy that is. I forgot. But the point is, What are you guys doing about this? Do you know about it? Because I will make sure you know about it. What are you doing about it? It needs to be handled on the state level, the federal level. And I frankly love these sheriffs that are putting this together and getting the job done. But what are the state mechanisms we have that are going to crack down on these shops?
Well, and here's another question. What's Jeff Jackson doing? And what did Josh Stein do about this when he was the AG? I think those are good questions.
We know the answers.
I don't either.
The answers are nothing. The answers are nothing. So let's ask, are the cot shipments entering North Carolina through Charlotte Douglas Airport, RDU? Are they? I mean, that where are they coming in? Have local law enforcement agencies intercepted any in Raleigh and all these places that they're not going to?
Well, let's just look at it a different way too. Those are major traffic areas for interstates. Every one of the major cities that you discussed. Greensboro goes straight up to Virginia. It's a pretty quick trip. Charlotte, Atlanta goes all the way to, from Florida to Atlanta and around. And then you've got Raleigh, and that's straight up 95. And where's that go? DC and on up.
Right? Johnson County is 95.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, it's still, and really what I want to know is our North Carolina or even American financial institutions, are they doing remittance services of any kind? Are they doing anything to funnel these proceeds to terror networks? Are they cooperating with federal investigators? We don't know.
Yeah. And like, how do you audit that? I think you have to go undercover.
Right. I would like to, we're going to read up on this. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Oh, UPS and UP. And they send it through the mail. Don't they have dogs?
I guess the way the leaves are, they send it in a form that it's just deeply scary. But staying on the same track, but getting some good news. Let's get some good news going if we can manage it. So finally, something in the Wall Street Journal. It's a rare headline. It's actually a good one that came out and said U.S. life expectancy in 2025 hit an all-time high, 79 years.
Oh, wow. Well, they weren't doing cut.
Well, look, here's the thing. It's directly linked from less overdose death.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. And so this is timely, what we're talking about. So look, what you're seeing here on the right, this is data just released from the CDC. Check this out on the very, very far edge. So for male and female, drug overdose death rates have plummeted. I wonder if that has anything to do with closing the borders.
You think? Closing the borders and probably giving, I'll just say this out loud. That's one area of Medicaid expansion that I'm okay with is, getting people through some drug help if they're willing to do it. Because if you're going to step forward and try to get yourself cleaned up, I'm all for helping you get that way. But yeah, I think that's helping. I think, allowing people to go to treatment is a big deal.
I do think that. And I had a conversation with another sheriff friend of ours, Sam Page, about what happens in jails. And he said that funding, the public may not want to hear about, we need funding for jails because we think, screw them. But this is a major problem where, the opportunity, in fact, drug rehab is the most effective while incarcerated. Studies
because they have the hardest time getting it there. So that's one part of
got a captive audience, and they're around, and so that I actually agree with.
Yeah.
So this is incredible news. Look what closing the border can do. Closing the border and then having ICE agents. I love Tom Homan's approach. His approach was always, give me a list, okay? Make a list of the most hardened criminals that we know here are in here illegally, have been thrown out, blah, blah. We go to them first, right? And then we can worry about the rest. So that's what was going on, and it's still going on.
I think it is a matter of tone. What I saw Tom Homan do is say, look, I'm not here to disrupt what you're doing, but I need your cooperation. And if we can work together, we will do this as patient, as together as we can with as little rhetoric as possible. And I thought I saw that he actually got buy-in for them to go into the jails and get the criminals, not just anybody. He said it this morning, not just an illegal. You have to be an illegal with a detainer for a crime.
I think that's
their first
way. I think that's the safest way to do it.
Yeah.
Look, something else is going on. We've been on kind of the crime kick because in little areas in North Carolina, you don't know what's going on. In New Bern, I kept reading about fentanyl bust after in New Bern.
I'm not surprised at that.
Well, I picked up the phone, talked to the sheriff. We're going to talk to him tomorrow. But check this out. This is the first in-kind cooperation. I'm going to put the video up to show you what can be done with good sheriffs, because Soros has destroyed this country with bad sheriffs and DAs. That's how they're taking us down.
Mm-hmm.
So watch this, see what you think.
As we announce the formation of our new regional drug task force.
Tuesday, the Carteret, Craven, and Pamlico County Sheriff's Office announced they're teaming up with each other and the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation to fight against illegal drugs in Eastern Carolina.
It's important for us to continue going after these drug traffickers in Eastern North Carolina. These drug dealers, they know no boundaries.
The sheriff says with this task force, boundaries that used to be a barrier during cross-county investigations like jurisdictions will no longer be an issue. The addition of resources from the SBI makes this new task force different from other multi-county collaborations that came before it.
Having immediate access to these resources now, like the director said, money, technology, manpower. Now there's not going to have to be a request for that.
Okay, so I'm talking to him tomorrow morning, and let me put up the results. I mean, I'm putting up just a tiny bit of it. This really caught my eye. He's from Cary. They just arrested him the other day. Felony trafficking in fentanyl. This is New Bern, small, sleepy town, historic town. It blows my mind. 3 counts of felony possession with intent to manufacture, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the fentanyl was the kicker. 5 counts of felony possession with intent to manufacture, Schedule 2 controlled substance. Now, this lady, you could.
She looks like a little lady.
I'm telling you.
Until you read her charges.
This is a bad bee. And good thing she's off the street. Felony possession with intent to manufacture and deliver fentanyl. Cocaine,
marijuana. She's a walking party for a druggie.
This woman, and I'm telling you, they're getting a lot of these people with drug dogs.
Oh, really? Well, you know what? Yeah. To me, one of the interesting things about New Bern is that it's on the edge of a transient area. Beach bummy kind of people. You don't really suspect somebody because there's a lot of migration in and out because of the beaches and the fishing. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised. I'm totally not surprised. What I'm surprised at is how good they're getting at catching them, which kudos to them.
Well, it's unbelievable. And I'm going to ask them how it's done, how others can cooperate. But it's the first in its kind cooperation with the SBI, sheriffs across borders. They did this for a 2-month project. I mean, and it's going gangbusters. Here's another guy, a cocaine bust, $500,000 street value. This is in New Bern. So this is happening in your rural areas in North Carolina.
I just don't ever think of it. New Bern, to me, I always think of Big Rock, and heading down past that to go to Beaufort, which is another place that you brought up already. It's kind of scary to see that coastline in those areas that a lot of people take their children.
I mean, major drug trafficking is going on there. I'm
speechless.
I am literally speechless. Okay, so yesterday we put up a great story written by, to be honest with you, a hell of a woman who's smart and just kind of a
go-getter
kind of a girl. It was actually me, but.
You did that with a straight face. I'm so proud of you for doing that.
I'm not okay tonight.
It's funny.
I'm feeling myself. Okay. So the story was about, look, what I did was because you and I have been talking about a lot of things we thought would happen in this election. This is in the midterms, guys. It applies directly to North Carolina. But I wasn't really sure. So I took about 19 different polls, good research, etc., and I put it into one cute little article about, and it's titled, unaffiliateds are up. We know that. Democrats are down. Republicans can still mess it up. Yeah. So we're going to go through this. And a lot of Republicans were mad at me because I pointed this out. And I just have to say that when we look at Trump's approval numbers now, they are the same as Obama's were in 2010, where they lost like 1,000 state house seats. They lost the House, 47 seats. They lost 9 Senate seats. And very similar to Bill Clinton's in 1994, which was a wipeout.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah,
it's predictable. First of all, that's predictable. I think the concern I have is I'm going to take it down a layer, and that is we have to win 3 out of 4 contested North Carolina House races to keep our supermajority. I have been spending some time on congressional races, but really, frankly, there's not any. There's only 2 that are in this state that are really worth paying attention. Yeah, that are really in play. But what is concerning is who's running at the North Carolina House and Senate level, and where this could impact them because it trickles down.
Yeah. Sheffley has a good question, by the way. I need to show this. Hey, how are dispensaries in Raleigh able to sound? You know what? I don't know. We were just talking about that. Maybe you didn't before you jumped on, but what was remarkable to me is that there are some cities that we know with a lot of shops. I'm not seeing any
pushback from the law.
Right. And I don't know if they're in violation of the law. Frankly, I don't know if they're being investigated. We can find out. But it's a great question. So look, when we talk about the election, I mean, if we lose control of the General Assembly, we already know what's coming, right? With respect to higher taxes, the law enforcement aspect.
Radical policy change. That's just the tax part is nothing compared to what our kids are going to go through.
Yeah, quite a bit. So look, when we look at unaffiliated voters, what this study said, it was like, wow, on this Gallup poll, very good poll. And it says, well, for the first time, it's just people are leaving the Democrat and Republican Party. This is national, right? And saying, I'm unaffiliated. I have no labels. But in North Carolina, they do that. But I want you guys to know, 2 things have been going on. Republicans are up over Democrats, but still unaffiliateds are a lot. And they lean right for 2 reasons, I think. Number one, when you register to vote here in North Carolina, that's public information. So if you're working for a big tech company or a big healthcare company or a professor somewhere, you don't want people to know you're going to register unaffiliated. That's 1. 2 is we have a lot of disgruntled Republicans that think the party isn't going far enough to fight for our conservative values. And I'm telling you, they register unaffiliated all the time and they brag about it.
Well, I think there's a couple things that from a tactical or lower level viewpoint in the party, I'll say a few things. First of all, I hate that they are raising that we are ahead of the Democrats. Who cares? You're still behind the unaffiliated. Keep doing you got more work to do. So shut up and do the work. That's the first thing. The second thing I'll say is the Republican Party in North Carolina does not, and refuses to commit to vetting good candidates. And that is what puts us in positions to lose. Like, I'm sorry, but Michael Whatley I'm not sorry. He's not a good candidate. But here we are, and they want to get everybody on the bus behind him when the truth is, nope, we wouldn't have nominated him if we had done that at a convention. Maybe we would have been, but it would have been really, really close. I'm just like 3 votes maybe. But the point I'm trying to make is there's an issue where we don't have a centralized vetting committee for current congressional Senate seats. And then even at the county levels, they do not use the resources appropriately that are allotted to them in the plan of organization, like a nominations committee, which should be for vetting candidates.
Right. Yeah. I mean, here's what I know. I mean, I'm a registered Republican because I have more power within the party, right? I'm a precinct chair. That's what I do. You'll see me. I mean, that the number one. I'm the number one critic of Republicans, right? And so a lot of people ask me, well, why don't you just, blah, blah, blah? Because I'm not a Democrat, because my values lie here. Thank you very much. But I'm not working at GSK. I'm not working at UNC Health, where I could be, demoted for being a Republican.
Well, and I think there's another thing about it. People, that's a criticism I get caught quite often, is the fact that I am not afraid to criticize my own party. If you don't do that, then what are you doing in the party? If it were all perfect, I don't know that I would want to be a part of it. What's the point? You have to be able to find the issues, highlight them, be respected for your perspective on highlighting them, and change them. The problem is we highlight issues all the time, and we have people in establishment roles, they're establishment rhinos, that don't want the change that the party needs.
Well, they want you to shut up.
Absolutely. Quickly.
I'm not going to shut up. So most people are leaning towards Don Brown. Yeah. I mean, we've been very upfront on this show. I support Don Brown.
I support Don Brown.
We won't win unless we have free elections. Yeah. And you know what? You're right. And I don't take too kindly to people in DC picking my candidates. Like, there's a lot of talk about JD Vance now being the candidate for president. I'm sorry. TV USA came out and said that. We believe in primaries. We're 3 years away, right? So we're tired of having that. But anyway, the point of all this stuff was, and I thought it was pretty good, is that, look, we need to talk about unaffiliated voters. We kind of know who they are here. It's different here than it is nationally, for that reason, because we lean right. People, go ahead.
There's a bigger piece of it, though. Yeah. Okay, so now what you're seeing with all this radicalism, which we pointed out, Democrats moving to the right just to be on the ballot to defeat a Republican, and actually they're Democrats, right? Now, even specifically in sheriff's races, I'm seeing people move to the left because they have crappy Republican sheriffs.
Well, I got more information about that. That's happening in Pitt County. So in Pitt County, apparently there's a sheriff that people feel is woefully unqualified. I mean, she is a person that, is let crime slide or whatever. And I guess a Democrat has entered in. And I mean, that happens all the time, though. Pitt County is Democrat. They don't have a GOP person on the ballot. So
good to know, because I was just like watching my Republican friends. I was like, what is going on?
I think that's just a small case. But look, let's get back to this. People are exiting the label, not the ideology. And I think nationally, people like Elon Musk and Trump got together and did such a great job of bashing the hell out of the Democrat brand, because you're seeing it with younger people. They're right. They're like, okay, I'm still a liberal. I still have all these ideology, this thing, but don't label me a Democrat. They very much are, right? We're not seeing that as much here in North Carolina. People are leading and they're still leaning right.
Yeah.
But just something to kind of keep in mind. And plus they have no leader. Like, who's the leader of the Democrat Party? Tim Walz. I mean, look at they don't have an Obama who could, community organizer. They don't have a triangulator like Bill Clinton was. Those were guys that could lead the party.
They looked moderate. They looked moderate.
They knew how to play that well, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And I think that's the difference between what you're seeing, like we talked about on Tuesday. Josh Shapiro and even Fetterman are appearing more moderate in a Democrat than Gavin Newsom.
Right. So Josh, this really pissed me off. So he comes out. I'm no fan of JD Vance. If you follow me on X, you know why. So this may shock you. So Josh Shapiro came out and he goes, JD Vance did not use the word Jews in his International Holocaust Remembrance tweet. And he's using, Josh Shapiro is using his Judaism, I feel, to come out after him. So I looked at his statement. He didn't do it either.
Oh, really?
No, so don't come out you need to watch yourself, son, because you're coming out as a moderate and blah, blah, and you're coming out to criticize. Look, Josh Shapiro is a Jew. And I said this before. During the campaign with Kamala Harris, the Democrats are such big anti-Semites The guy practically sewed his foreskin back on to appear not Jewish to be the vice president. Remember that?
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to be talking about this. But anyway, I digress. So the rest of the story is basically, guys, here's what's going to blow it for the Democrats. This is the part you want to hear. They're going to try to make all this a national issue. They're going to try to make everything about Trump. I think it's going to backfire.
I think people don't realize we voted him in for a reason. And here's the other part of it. He's not going to be there much longer. And if we can give him the power to get stuff done because he's a lame duck president, go.
Yeah, I think what we need to do to win these races is talk about things that are obviously directly impactful. I mean, what is a pain point for me, right? Crime is for me, but I don't know that it is for everybody. So, just dependent on where you are, right? Healthcare costs are going to be a big one. So I just talked to Brian Echevarria. That is going to be a major initiative for him coming up in the summer. We're going to help him work on it.
I'm going to do anything I can to help Brian Echevarria because he's helping us. I mean, I literally follow him on every platform because his videos are hilarious with his family. But I do think that my personal opinion is, while I believe Senate and congressional races are important, I think North Carolinians need to focus on North Carolina. We're a hair away from.
No question. If I'm telling you what, if the sheriff and the DA race and control the General Assembly are the most important things that you can do. Now, here's a good question. How do we get real American? I mean, I don't know what a real American is because I can tell you, some people up there, okay, they're not doing it. How do we get, I think what you're saying is North Carolina first candidates here. You know what I like?
Oh, absolutely. 100% North Carolina first.
Recruiting them instead of waiting for people to step forward. Look, in Mecklenburg and Wake County, where I am, we don't have a GOP on the ballot for DA or sheriff.
That's nuts. And we know that the Democrat counterparts literally say every seat you must have someone to run in. That's literally their mantra. And I heard the criticism from Anderson and Clayton that there were some seats that Democrats didn't run in, and it ticked her off.
I like that.
And as opposing seats.
Well, by the way, let's talk about Mecklenburg because I kind of skipped over that sheriff.
That nut job.
Yeah. How bad can it be if you get the wrong sheriff? So
pretty bad. I know.
So do I.
That's true.
I know about having a very shitty police force as well.
You do.
I do. So when we talk about McFadden, he's been under fire for a long time. I love the fact that Majority Leader Jones is trolling the hell out of him. If you go and you see on X, he's trolling them. So look, the other day, I mean, he's under investigation. He's coming to testify in front of the Oversight Committee. He all of a sudden, whoopsie. Okay, there's our tell. We do at least one mistake per show to show you that we're not AI.
But I'm good at AI. I pissed my sheriff off with AI.
AI is good for research. That's what I know.
Make some campaign videos. It'll really piss him off.
Oh, interesting. All right. I have to figure out how to do it. Yeah, I can't figure out that yet. I'm not as proficient. Okay, so check this out. The Mecklenburg County Sheriff removes its jail website. I don't even know if that's legal. Okay, so it was offline for 24 hours.
Well, they did what? What were they doing? Do we know?
Well, I think we do.
We have some idea.
Okay, so check this out. This was happening a lot. So you see this intake, this arrest record, right? They were posting pictures of people that were dead and using the wrong picture. But look, they're classifying almost all Hispanic offenders as white.
Yeah, but I heard they changed that, right?
They did change that. So, but let me tell you why I think they did that. Because they're trying to obscure the problem of illegals who come into this country and commit crime.
And crime. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that this is not just a North Carolina problem. I think this is like what I've seen is several sheriff's departments who are very highly politicized on the left. That's their way of doing it. Buncombe County does it. That we've seen it across the state, but we also know that it's going across the country. And there's clearly an underground network between these sheriffs that talks about how to make their numbers look a certain way or manipulate things.
So they're not, and they're typically ones, Margo, correct me if I'm wrong, that do not cooperate with ICE.
Correct.
Okay. We have more trouble in Charlotte. Tell us about this.
Oh, well, I thought she was going to run again. I guess she's not. This is Tawana Brown, who defiantly said she was going to run again for Charlotte City Council, but apparently she ended up doing a federal plea, she and her daughter, and they, I guess, are going to do maybe some time. They're going to do a little time in the clinky for COVID funds.
So,
and actually it was wiretapping or wire fraud. It ended up being federal wire fraud.
So Charlotte government is corrupt as hell, and people keep voting for it.
Just listen, I want to say this out loud since we're talking about Charlotte and government. Mr. Bukhari, who used to be on the Mecklenburg County Commissioners, he came back from D.C. Yep. Weird timing, how that, Tariq, how come he came back so early? But listen, now he's doing a podcast with a Democrat. What is going on, Tariq? We need to understand. What are you doing? You're making your former constituents.
How do you do kumbaya with people? This is a fact that if you're in the party, in the Democrat Party, and you vote to make sure that the sheriff is following federal law and cooperating with ICE, they kick you out of the party. How do you sit down and have what's your objective here? Is to say we're just like the other guy? What are you doing, dude?
It's kind of like today I saw the North Carolina Democrats put out a post on X that said basically they don't support ICE. I'm like, you guys have illegals in your party who can't vote. No wonder you don't support
Or
ICE.
Maybe they do. Who knows?
Oh, well, they probably do vote. They're not supposed to vote.
Is that a news flash that the Democrat Party doesn't support ICE? I mean,
no, it's a news flash to everybody out there that may not know it. They will allow illegal immigrants to be North Carolina Democrats, even if they can't vote. Criminals. That's true.
Criminals, murdering people, etc. I cannot with these people. So lastly, people are worried about the budget, right? It's in the left talking points.
Yeah.
And we've reported on it. We've had the majority leader on here. This is kind of where we are. Let's see. Again, my second mistake. So you really, really know that we're not using AI.
It happens. You're forgiven.
We're
talking money and you hate that.
Now, I don't hate talking. I love spending it. So North Carolina won't have a new budget until at least April. Okay. So what I thought this is impressive. So Destin Hall gave an interview today with the News and Observer, and he said, look, it's so significant. I want to put this up and I want to read this to you. He said that he wants starting pay for teachers to be the highest in the Southeast. The House proposal passed in May it would have raised teachers starting pay to $50,000. What do you think of that?
Listen, I'm all for teachers getting a raise. I just want to know where it's coming from. I want to make sure that it's not going to be something that ends up creating taxes, more of a tax burden on poor people specifically, but myself as well. I'm okay. Listen, I live in an area where literally they can drive 14 miles over the border and make $50,000 as a teacher. Yeah. So
I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big fan. So to pay for that, okay, it's going to require slow or pausing scheduled income tax cuts to preserve the revenue for these raises. Well, that's where it's going to come from. In other words, not raising taxes, but slow or pause the scheduled decrease.
Yeah, well, I think first of all, the schedule was slowed anyway. It's slow anyway. I think, if we've been told that we may gain another congressional seat in Congress because of the number of people coming in. I think if you take proportionately a slowing effect the fact we're having more people come in, which
base
creates more of a
inflation,
tax base. I think this is going to even itself out.
Okay, that's interesting. But I want you all to know that, I mean, I support the House's budget over the Senate.
Oh, me too.
Okay. But that's a pretty good selling point. I've always been in favor of more pay. That needs to happen. If you want a professionalized teaching force, you need to pay them like one.
But you need to vet them as well. If I'm going to let you make $50,000 of my money, you rest assured you better know math better than my kid.
100%. So I think, a professionalism means both sides, right? And I think we're, as a party in the state, committed to doing that. So look, the Senate priority, they want to give modest raises. They want to keep accelerating personal income tax cuts. And they want to create a deficit. That's what everyone in the House says. They're looking to create a deficit so that they can justify bringing in, I don't know, casinos or pots.
Children's hospitals or whatever.
No, I'm talking strictly about
pot. Oh, you're talking about marijuana or casinos to bring up. Oh, don't forget betting, because they did bet the farm on sports betting. Don't forget that.
Well, so what you would do theoretically is the Senate's proposal is you would say, okay, we just want modest raises, but we want to cut the hell out of taxes, which as a conservative, that sounds great. However, what the statistics show or the data show is that we're going to be running a deficit in the state. And then you're going to be like, well, shit, what do we do now? And, okay, well, we're going to have to bring in gambling because that brings up tax revenue. Look, I mean, the same people in the Senate that drove Medicaid expansion, which is not only an unfunded liability, it has no end. It's a multiplier. We're told it would be 600,000 people max. It's 700,000 now with no end in sight. So the same people that brought you that want to bring you this aspect of the budget. Nah, dog.
I'm with you. I'm hanging in there with you.
The tax policy. Here's another one. The House wants to adjust the revenue, like I said, triggers to slow the pace, given future federal concerns like the Medicaid reimbursement rate being dropped.
Lowered. And even doing away with Medicaid expansion, which who has to hold the bag when that happens?
Mm-hmm. Anyway, this is where I'm going to put on a bright, happy face and not criticize the Senate too badly. The Senate insists on maintaining the schedule as promised to taxpayer and businesses, resisting changes, and just saying, screw it. We're just going to keep pedal to metal. But here's the difference. For healthcare, the House is proposing what's called a clean Medicaid funding bill. Got to read this because I'm going to get it right. They want to fully fund the rebasing, which helps provider reimbursement rates. Okay, once again, just like with teachers, we want to pay for quality providers here. That makes sense. I'm arguing it should be addressed without policy riders. The Senate has not taken that up, and they want other provisions. Tell us about the Children's Hospital.
Well, I wasn't going to actually talk about the Children's Hospital as much as I think that if they're really going to do that, I would like to see some nurses, some doctors, some people that actually have some skin in the game, make them put some rigor around the laws to get that money. Mm-hmm. Because right now we know that there's a huge error rate for money from Medicaid.
There's a work requirement. I think the work requirement is a federal requirement on the Medicaid. So I think the big, beautiful bill did have a work requirement. And then recently, Margot, they came out and bitched about that and said, it's going to take too much money to enforce the work requirement here in North Carolina, which Jimmy Crack Corn, I don't give a damn.
I just think I look at the whole healthcare thing as there's so many things behind the scenes that we have found out that contribute to that need to be addressed. And frankly, I would like to see that one board be taken away from the governor and given to the legislature.
The medical board. So let's talk about that for a minute. It's 16 people on that medical board. 12 of them, 16, let me do my math. 14 are selected by the governor, who's far left, and 2 are selected by the Republicans. And they have the power to take a doctor's license with no oversight.
Yeah, but they also have the power to ensure a doctor gets paid from state funding, Medicaid.
No,
Medicare.
that's DHHS.
Well, don't they work together on that? I thought they did. I thought there was some crossover.
The medical board is strictly licensing. So here's what
Okay.
happens. Okay. So we did find in the DHHS audit, you guys, and this is going to scare the hell out of you, is that the medical board, on the rare occasions, they actually legitimately suspend a doctor for trafficking drugs, being convicted of sex crimes.
I got it now.
You see what I'm saying? They cancel their
DHHS isn't following through.
right. And then over here, DHHS, which just so okay. Imagine there's 20 doctors get suspended. They bring their bold ass into work the next day anyway and keep seeing patients. DHHS keeps paying them as though they have a license.
Is it just ignoring what the medical board did?
Either they don't know, which is a problem, or they're ignoring, which is a problem.
Well, where's the audit to find out? Come on, Dave. Let's
We
go.
have the audit. No, he does have the audit. That's
Yeah.
why I'm telling you the results of that audit, which we've talked about.
Well, I
So
thought
we
that was
only-
Beth. I thought Beth did that one.
Mm-mm. I know
Okay.
there's been a lot. Let me ask you a
We've
question.
had so many audits.
Let me ask you a question. Do you read my Substack?
I do, but like I got the Beth Wood audit, which was horrifying.
That was at the
It's
medical
been-
board,
it's
not at
been-
DHHS. I put it all in
I
one.
got them all mixed
By
up.
the way, if you really loved me, you would go back. It was two weeks ago, and you'd read it.
I'll read it again.
I have faith in you. I know you will.
It's
But it
time
is
to go.
But you know what? This underscores the problem. Complexity favors those in power.
Well, and if I don't know, if I get it messed up, and I did read it, I got the two confused, and I was thinking about what Beth Woods was, not the current one. Imagine just a person going to work who has 3 different jobs and they're changing shifts, and they.
That's why we're here.
That's right.
That's why we're here. And the funny thing is when we have pissed politicians off, they know that we are standing in the way of complexity because we break it down for you. So when we did the foreign doctors bill, I even had a legislator put out there that if he catches me at the people's house, he will have me thrown out. This is a Republican.
He
They
can't
were
do
so
that.
mad at me. Let me tell you what, they were so mad at me. Remember that time
Yeah, I remember.
I went to a GOP meeting.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
there.
I forgot
And I
that.
was sitting at the restaurant, sitting at this bar at the bit crowded. And the guy comes over that was running this Western Wake Republican Club and said, "You need to leave." Threatened to call the cops on me. Why? Because I had written stories that were unfavorable to the party.
But I don't think it's wrong to criticize. Like, what do we have a First Amendment for if you don't criticize your own party as much or, fiercely as you criticize the other side?
I mean, I don't know. So what happened there is I begged him to call the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many members that intervened, but I'm just telling you guys, they will do that. So anyway, well, thank you for coming tonight. I'm having we're going to be interviewing sheriffs again. Sheriffs and DA races are important.
Well, it's that time of year. We have, I think today or tomorrow. We're 2 weeks from early voting. We've got to start getting on it and making sure you guys get what you need. I've put some ballots out. I still owe you some more. I'm going to continue to do that because I think it's important that you have vetted people. But also, we're going to continue to start talking to candidates that we think are important for you to hear from. If we could get a DA or 2 on, a judge or 2 on, happy to do it. If you want to reach out, we'll happily put you on. We are very, very lucky that we have a lot of sheriffs that really do want to speak out about what they've done and how they're doing it.
Well, and here's our announcement. Sundays, we're doing shows starting this Sunday.
Yeah.
Same time. So we'll be seeing you on Sunday. Then we'll be seeing you on Tuesday because we got to fit it all in from Sundays from now until the primary. All right. So with that, we will see you Sunday. Share this with 10 people. Love to have so many commenters. We had so many, I couldn't get to everyone. But have a great night. Stay safe. And if it snows this weekend, by the way, we're especially going to be here on Sunday.
I'm going to finish it up with this. The National Weather Service out of Greenville, South Carolina, they happen to I was following them. We had nothing. We had like no snow, almost no ice. Only the very ruralist areas have it. Their hub here is in Greenville, South Carolina. So they put up that we're going to have a blizzard this weekend. And I said, that's what you said last weekend with a yawn. And they were like, are you saying we lied?
They did that to you?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was funny.
So the National Weather Service has been going back and forth with you, and the ambassador of Qatar has been going back with me. This has been a red letter day. If you haven't checked it out, you've got to make your way to X. You've got to see that because we'll stand up to anybody, even Mother Nature.
Or the vice president.
Yeah, or some lying Qatari. Anyway, good.
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.